Hello, my friends. I hope you're doing well. How's your day? How's your PMP exam prep coming along? Well, our awesome students on the PM Masterclass program sent these in. They have their study group every now and again, and they take a look at roughly 150 questions going back and forth between them. These are some of the questions they sent me to clarify. So this is the 11th question, and it says, your project initiator has taken the next step to formalize the project. You assisted in the creation of the document that authorizes the project. That's the project charter, right? You need to review all things considered to be true without proof. So what are things that we consider to be true without proof? They are assumptions, right? You also need to review factors and things that limit team options. What are those constraints? And it says, what should you do next? Well, if that's what you need to do, what you should do next is work on a document or a process that combines these two. So since you're already in the development of the charter, you already developed the charter, it sounds like what you possibly have left to do is these two things. So you need to review the things called assumptions and also constraints. There's only one document it could be. It has to be the assumption log, option C. Okay, so the answer to that first one is C, the assumption log. Okay, that's what you need to do. All right, let's go to the next one. Now that I've clarified for you that this is the assumption log, let's see the next question you brought up. And I appreciate you sharing these because our friends on YouTube get to look into it as well. All right, this one is about backlog preparation. All right, let's take a look at this and see which number it is. Okay, it's the next one. What do you know? That's the next one. Okay. You have been involved in backlog preparation with your stakeholders. Now, on the exam, if they tell you it's backlog, you got to remember that backlog is an umbrella word that is used for any sort of backlog. It could be product backlog, it could be service backlog, it could be IT request backlog, whatever the case. It says your team member is assisting you in creating a product backlog. What is the next best step? So it's a little bit vague overall. You got to look in the options to understand what they're talking about. So A, include the Agile project charter and scope of work. No, you don't include the Agile project charter and scope of work in your product backlog. And again, the term scope of work is not typically used in Agile. That would be a red herring right there. Next one says, include the definition of done and definition of ready. These are in the team charter, not in the product backlog, not in the backlog. Okay. C, include the sprint goal and acceptance criteria. You're in the product backlog, so it cannot be anything to do with a sprint goal in your product backlog. So we're going to get rid of that one. And the acceptance criteria, you know, is at the back of the card, the user story, which is in the product backlog. But at this point, we don't have this. That's sprint goal, so that wouldn't be correct. D says, include user requests, in other words, user stories, and requirements. Requirements that have been written in that format. So the answer to this, the best answer is D. All right, I hope that demystifies those for you. Let's see what else we've got here. Okay, let's see. Your product owner is working with the team. Let's see which question that one is. Product owner is working with the team. Okay, question 35. Let's see if we can fish that out. Question 35. Here we go. Your product owner is working with the team on deciding on a set of conditions that is required to be met before a user story is accepted. Okay, so we're talking about the user story acceptance, not the PSI, not the potentially shippable increment. We're talking about the user story. All right, so you said it was a toss-up between, okay, between A and B. So the definition of ready is not the same as acceptance criteria. When we talk about a user story being accepted, we mean that the story has been worked on by the team and the user story is, in quote, at a point that it can be incorporated into a deliverable, or maybe that story is in and of itself something that can be delivered. But the bottom line is, when we say a story is ready, we mean it's ready to be worked on, not ready to go, as in you could say the user story is done. I don't like using the word done because done is used for the PSI, but for lack of a better word, you can say the particular story is at a point where it can be integrated, or it is at a point where it is, what's the word? Acceptable, right? So for lack of a better word, the best answer here, my friends, is not the definition of ready. That means ready to be worked on, right? And you remember what we talk about when we say a story is ready. We talk about the INVEST acronym: independent, negotiable, valuable, estimable, small enough to fit within a sprint, and testable. So the best answer is not A, and of course it's not C or D, which you folks knew. The answer is B. That's your acceptance criteria right there. Remember, when we talk about the user story, we talk about the front of the card and the back of the card. The front of the card has a story, the back of the card has the acceptance criteria. Okay? Definition of ready is all about the INVEST acronym. So the answer to that one is B. Good. I'm glad you folks had fun with these questions. Let's see what else you sent me. So another one about scheduling, huh? Okay. Let's check that one out. Let's see what number that one is. And by the way, I think you folks might be looking at the old, the limited edition one or the limited number one. You need to look for the one where you got about 150 questions. That one has got the numbering scheme at the top right. That's the one you want to look at. And remember I told you, don't look at the answers. Well, the answers are in the new one, so I'm not sure which one you folks were looking at. But anyway, here is the final question, establishing how to build a schedule. Let's see if we can find that. Okay, that's number 53. Let's go on to number 53. All right, here we go. And it says you're in the process of establishing how to build a schedule, the policies, procedures, and documentation for planning, developing, managing, executing, and controlling the project schedule, right? Which result do you expect to receive from this process? So this is right in the beginning. This is the, if you will, plan schedule management process. So let's talk about why it's plan schedule management. It says the policies and procedures for and documentation for planning, developing, managing, it's the whole shebang, it's everything. So you're planning how. Anytime you see establishing how, you know it's talking about a planning process. How are we going to do this, that, and the other? So using the process of elimination, we know it's not the project schedule, that's from develop schedule. It's not the schedule baseline, that's from develop schedule. It's not schedule forecast, that's from control schedule. It has to be schedule development approach, which is one of the sub things you have in your schedule management plan, which is from plan schedule management. Okay? And those are the answers, my friends. I'm really glad that you worked on this today. I look forward to seeing you on Saturday. Those of you who have not yet signed up for our project management masterclass, You want to go on down to the website praizion.com. You see Praizion as it's spelled over there, Praizion.com. We have a masterclass starting at the beginning of the next month. All right, so jump on the bandwagon, and I look forward to seeing you. You take care. Bye for now.